If you're an African, Caribbean, or from the global south, and if you plan to travel, study, work, or even transit abroad in 2026, then this video concerns you. So across the UK, US, Europe, and part of Asia, governments are quietly changing the immigration rules, and Africans are the most affected. If you're an African, a Caribbean, or if you are from the global south, living in the US or the UK, or planning to move to the US, UK, either for studies, tourism, or even work, then stop whatever you are doing and listen to this video, because as of January 2026, the rules of immigration have officially changed. And these are not just small tweaks. We are talking of expanded travel bans, massive hikes, and new green card rules that could put your status at risk. And if you are holding an African passport right now, you are not just imagining it. In fact, the doors are closing. In the last 18 months, the world's biggest economies, which is the US, the Germany, the UK, Australia, and Canada, have quietly rewritten the immigration rule books. And they tell us it's about integrity, migration control. But today in this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how they are doing it, country by country, so you know exactly what you are up against. If today is the first time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Now let's start with the United States of America. So let's start with the big one, which has to do with the United States of America. Now, starting this month, which is January 2026, the Trump administration has already banned several countries from entering the US, and they've also added 5 more extra countries. Now, already, I'm sure you know of the countries who are banned. So we have Afghanistan, Burkina Faso, we have Burma, we have Chad, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Laos, Libya, Mali, Niger, and a number of several countries. But these people received a permanent ban, with regards to all entry to the US. Now, in addition, 5 extra countries have also been included. So I already mentioned them, but these countries are Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and South Sudan. So if you are from these countries, entering the US, even for tourism or study, it's now almost impossible. You cannot, enter the US. Forget about that now until maybe future notice. Now it's impossible. So the US government claims that these countries do not meet international standards for identity document. Basically, if your home country can't prove exactly who you are in the US standards, you are being punished with a ban. And if you are already in the US on a visa from these countries, your ability to renew or travel home back is now severely limited. So that is it with that. Now, the next one has to do with the green card and the fee, which is also now changed. For those already in the US, the cost just went up. So USCSSI has implemented a new fee out of January 1st. But here's the kicker. They are moving away from the paper checks. So for now, everything must now be electronic. One failed transaction and everything is rejected, which would cost you months of waiting time. But here is the bigger threat to your green card. So Congress just approved a rule requiring biometrics update every 5 years. It's no longer set it and forget it. If you don't show up for every 5 years fingerprinting appointment, your status can be terminated. Also, watch your travel, because if you spend more than 6 months outside of the US in a year or 18 months over a 3-year window, the government can now claim you've abandoned and your residency will be gone. For the United States of America, as of the late 2025, we are seeing a massive expansion of entry restrictions based on specific metrics. Number one is the overstay rate. The US government is citing visa overstay report. For example, they claim countries like Chad or Djibouti have high overstay rates for their B1 and their B2 business and tourism visas. And that is one of the reasons. Now, the impact of this ban is that this is not just about stopping illegal migration. If this effectively pauses legitimate travel, if you are a student from Nigeria or a tourist from Senegal, you are now guilty by association before you even apply for some of these visas. And so, if you are part of these countries, then immigration for these countries to America is automatically shut down. You cannot participate. You cannot travel to any of these countries, either for travel, for tourism, for business, or anything. You are shut out. And for those already in the US, the US CIS has implemented a new visa rule which is starting on the 1st of January. But here's the kicker. They are moving away from the paper checks. Now, everything must now be electronic, and one failed transaction and your application is rejected and all your hard work goes into the drain. There is also a bigger threat to your green card. So, Congress just approved a rule requiring biometrics update every 5 years for all permanent residents in the US. It's no longer set it and forget it. If you don't show up for every 5-year fingerprinting appointment, your status can be terminated. Also, you have to watch your travel, because if you spend more than 6 months outside of the US in a year or 18 months over a 3-year window, the government can now claim you've abandoned your residency and it will be taken away from you. So that is one of the things you need to be careful if you live in the US currently. Now let's switch over to the UK, the United Kingdom. So the pressure is just high in the UK, and the government continuing its crackdown on dependents. So if you are coming as a student or a care worker in the UK, bringing your family is becoming nearly impossible under the 2026 guidelines. Now, they are also looking closer at tax compliance. Now, the US and the UK are also looking at tax compliance. And so now, the US and UK are now cross-checking data even more than ever. And so if you aren't filing your taxes correctly in your host country, your path to citizenship is effectively blocked. You can do nothing about it unless you've been filing your tax consistently and the right way. And that is the UK. Now, these are what you need to do to survive. It is always important to update your address. So for instance, if you move, then don't file Form AR11 within 10 days, because if you do, you will miss those critical 5-year biometric notices. Number 2, go digital. Ensure you have a stable US or UK bank account for all visa payments. Number 3, document everything. Keep every boarding pass and tax transcript, because in 2026, good faith isn't enough. You need proof to back everything up. Now, let's take a look at Germany. So, Germany in July 2025 also abolished the remonstration procedure. Now, what this meant was that if your visa was rejected, you could appeal for free directly to the embassy. But now, that free appeal is gone. You have to take legal action, which is very expensive. So a lot of people don't dare try it, or just reapply, pay the fee again. Now, this hits Africans hard because they are the ones rejected the most. Africans are rejected all the time. So now if you are refused, because you can't take, legal action, you are forced to reapply again and pay the fees again. Now with France has also moved heavily to outsource providers like the TLS contact, with stricter biometric requirements and appointment scarcities in West Africa, making the process the barrier, not just the rule again. And that is also causing a lot of problems, because finding an appointment these days is really not a joke. So the advice is that if you have to book an appointment with France, you have to give yourself an extensive time to be able to do it. If you get closer to the deadline, you are obviously going to be locked out and you have nothing to do. But hey, out of this, Germany's own is just mind-boggling, because even if an officer makes mistakes and refuses you, you have nowhere to fix it. You need to accept it, pay again, and live by the consequences of somebody's mistake. Even if it's your mistake, no problem. But if it's an officer's mistake, you still have to bear it. Now, for the case, the UK and Australia were also the dream destinations for many African students. Now, the dream is gradually being dismantled. Why? Because of the UK dependent ban, which was introduced around 2024-2025 thereabout. And now, the problem for most international students is that most international students and care workers can no longer bring their family members, which is known as the dependents, to the UK. They've categorized it to a very small number of people who can do that. And this specifically targets mature African students, often from Nigeria and Ghana, who tend to study at the master's level and have spouses or children. Now, they cannot do all of these. You can only send your dependent to the UK if you are doing a PhD program. Cutting the cap on a number of foreign students who would have wanted to study in the UK. Now, there's also, salary and threshold hike. So, the skilled worker salary threshold has jumped from 26,200 euros to 38,700 euros. Now, this prices out thousands of African professionals in entry to mid-level roles, which is also another big problem. Now, let's shift our attention to Australia. So, Australia replaced the genuine temporary entrance rule with a harsher genuine student test, which is making people go a number of stress if you want to go to Australia. So, this genuine student test has resulted in high refusals for Nigerians, Ghanaians, and Kenyans. If you have a gap in your education or you are older, you are now flagged as high risk and rejected from entering Australia, and it's a very big problem. And in some instances, vocational education rejection rate for African applicants have also spiked from 50 to 60%. That is a whooping figure. Now, even Canada, which was, seen as a friendly option, has also quietly shut their doors. So Canada has also brought to an end the Nigeria Student Express, NSE, because this was a program which helped a number of Nigerians. In fact, this program allowed fast-track study permit processing in 20 days for Nigerians who showed funds upfront. So provided you had the money, they were going to open up for you. But he's been taken away abruptly all of a sudden, and that is getting Africans talking. And the result now is that Nigerian applicants go back into the general pool with processing times that can take months, leading to missed semester start and expired admission offers. Now, Canada has also eradicated, or they have banned, the policy which allowed visitors to apply for work permits even outside Canada. Now, Canada ended the policy that allowed visitors to apply for work permits from inside the country, a path many Africans use to transition from tourism into legitimate work. That is also gone in Canada. So put together, these are the few, in short or in summary, what does happen to Africans. So the US has banned some African countries based on the Africans, criteria. Germany has taken away the right to appeal. The UK has also banned dependents. Australia now doubts your intentions. And Canada has also removed the fast track options. So the era of assuming that your green card or your visa is safe is all over. And 2026 is the year of strict compliance. Now, if you find problem with any of this, or if you want to deal decisively with any of these problems, or if you find yourself stuck in any of this, don't forget to consult your immigration lawyer or your immigration attorney. They are the right people to deal with when you have any of this problem. Now, take note that I am not an immigration lawyer or an immigration expert. The information is based on research and fact, what has been researched. And so if you have any of this problem, or if you want to deal with any of this, just consult your immigration lawyer or a qualified immigration attorney. My name is Kweku Africa, and it's a wrap for today.